Good morning. Welcome to Unity of Tacoma. And I think to start us off is ChristineEss is going to open us with a song to start us off.
Yes, I am. If I could tell the world just one thing, it would be we're all okay. And not to worry, 'cause worry is wasteful and useless in times like these. I won't be made useless, won't be made idle with despair. I'll gather myself around my faith, for light is darkness most fear. My hands are small, I know, but they're not yours, they are my own. And they're not yours, they are my own. And I am never broken. Poverty stole your golden shoes, but it didn't steal your laughter. And heartache came to visit me, but I knew it wasn't ever after. We'll fight, not out of spite, for someone must stand up for what's right. And where there's a man who has no voice, there I shall go singing. My hands are small, I know, but they're not yours, they are my own. And they're not yours, they are my own. And I am never broken. I will get down on my knees and I will pray. I will get down on my knees and I will pray. I will get down on my knees and I will pray. My hands are small, I know, but they're not yours, they are my own. And they're not yours, they are my own. And I am never broken. We are never broken. We are God's eyes, God's hands, God's heart, God's eyes. We are God's eyes.
Thank you for that beautiful song, ChristineEss. And hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our online session. My name is Kayla Kunimoto. I'm your Vice Chairman and MC here at Unity of Tacoma. So for today, our guest speaker is Cindy Akana with her talk title, Owning Your Life Purpose. And what you just heard, our beautiful musician, ChristineEss Young. So Cindy, could you please start us off with this morning's prayer?
Yes, most definitely. Let's just turn inward and focus on our preciousness. Own it. Know that you are a precious human being. You are part of the love of this world. You are part of the bigger light of this world. You are valuable. You have a place in this world. Just breathe that in. Breathe in your preciousness and accept it. And thanks be to God. And so it is. ChristineEss, do you have another song for us?
I do.
Yay!
Use me, oh God, I stand before you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. I used to think God was the sun and God is the sun, but God's so much more than the earth or the stars or all of creation. God is creator, all in all, needing us to shine its light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand before you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Command my hands, what must they do? Command my life, it's here for you. God is the love that heals all creation. God is creator, makes all things new, and God needs us to shine its light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. And God needs us to shine its light, and God needs us to shine its light, and God needs us to shine its light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand before you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do.
Thank you, ChristineEss. That's one of my favorite tunes. Thank you for singing that for us this morning. Probably many of you have heard the story of Malala Yousafzai, but I want to tell us let me talk about it just for a little bit to start off. So Malala Yousafzai is a female Pakistani education advocate who in 2014, at the age of 17, became the youngest person to win the Nobel Peace Prize. This is after she survived an assassination attempt by the Taliban. Malala became an advocate for girls' education when she herself, still a child, but because of her stand, this resulted in a Taliban issuing a death threat against her. And then on October 9th, 2012, when she was 15, Malala was riding a bus with some friends on her way home from school, and a masked gunman boarded the bus and demanded to know which girl was Malala. And her friends, accidentally looked over at her without saying anything, but because of that, they gave her location away. And so the gunman fired at her and hit her in the left side of her head. Now, the shooting left Malala in critical condition. So she was flown to a military hospital, actually where a portion of her skull was removed to treat her brain because it was swelling. And to receive additional care, she was then transferred to Birmingham, England, where she was taken out of a medically induced coma for treatment. And though she needed multiple surgeries, she suffered no major brain damage. And then in March of 2013, she was able to go back to school, but now it was in Birmingham. Now, in 2014, when she was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, I love what she said. She said, "If I win Nobel Peace Prize, it would be a great opportunity for me. But if I don't get it, it's not important, because my goal is not to get the Nobel Peace Prize. My goal is to see the education of every child." I would say that Malala has a life purpose, and that is to see that education is available for every child. That's how she spends a big chunk of her time. That's what she advocates for. The other story I want to tell you is about the story of Spencer West. Now, Spencer was a student at Westminster College when I worked there quite a few years ago as the director of campus ministry. And he participated in one of my outdoor recreation spirituality retreats. And he was just a fantastic, fun person to hang out with. I'm going to show you a little video of him.
They said I would never walk, that I wouldn't be a functioning member of society, that the odds would always be against me. But I refused to listen then, and I refuse to listen now. Join me on the greatest challenge I've ever faced as I climb 20,000 steps to the peak of Mount Kilimanjaro and raise $750,000 for clean water programs in East Africa. There is no can't or won't, only how to make the impossible possible.
Okay, I just got to get rid of a couple things here. So first, so Spencer, he was born with the rare genetic spinal disorder, and he had his legs amputated when he was 5 years old. And the doctors told his parents that he would never do much with his life. However, now Spencer is actually a successful motivational speaker and an activist who continues to defy what the doctor said he could or couldn't do. And in 2012, Spencer proved the doctors wrong again when he summited Mount Kilimanjaro on his hands. I think he said something like 80% of the time he did his own walking on his hands, and then was only carried 20% of the time. And you could see him, as he's running there on his hands, and also has his wheelchair. Spencer said that he hoped that his successful climb to the deadly peak, which kills people every year, would inspire others to believe that nothing is insurmountable. And this feat was just another part of Spencer's Redefine Possible campaign. And you can get online and look up Spencer West. There's some awesome videos of him actually on that journey going up Kilimanjaro. But again, I would say Spencer's life purpose at this time in his life is to help people redefine possible. And he's doing that by showing them what he's been able to do and is doing. So this is 2 examples of people living out their life purpose. And
Excuse me.
yes, Jasmine, thanks for being here.
Yes. Well, I have a story I'd like to tell.
Okay, I think we have time.
Oh God, this is a good one. You just said,
I know we're not very good at this tranquility stuff. I'm good at tranquility, but not tranquillism.
well, my story is about Esther. It's a story in the Bible. Esther, she is the queen. She becomes a queen and she saves her people. Now, she was a Jewish woman who was chosen to be the wife of a Persian king. Jewish woman, Persian king. That would be an interracial marriage for some of you that are trying to catch along, see what's happening. Anyway, she became the queen because of her phenomenal beauty, like me.
Yeah, you are beautiful.
I know, so I could have been the queen. But during her queenship, the king's chief minister decreed that all Jews would be annihilated on a specific date. Oh, that's bad. So Esther's cousin, however, his name is Mordecai. He pushed Esther to approach the king and ask him to retract the order. Well, Mordecai told Esther, she said, Esther, you became the queen so you could influence the king and do something about this deadly decree. So the queen did not have free reign around the king. I mean, get this. She couldn't just go up and say, yo, dude, hey. If she went in without him giving his approval or without him summoning her, she could be put to death. Whoa. However, Esther chose to put her life on the line in an attempt to approach the king and persuade him to retract the order. And it worked. And her courage saved the Jewish people in this story. Now, I can relate to Esther's life purpose because I want to do what I can to save my people.
Well, thank you, Jasmine. Thank you for that story. And thank you also for just reminding us that there's still lots of work to do.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for letting me drop in. Bye.
Thank you, Jasmine. She's always kind of a little kick. Well, that's 3 stories of people that had maybe specific life purposes, and that seems dramatic, and they have these, they have these great impacts on stuff, and you just say, but I'm little old me, or I'm little young me, whatever. I would say that a life purpose isn't based on how many people you touch. You don't need to be extraordinary. You don't need to be extra pretty, extra talented, or even be extra brave to have a life purpose. We all can have that. And it doesn't matter, like I said, whether your purpose helps or inspires 10 people or millions, it is still an important calling. Now, some of you probably already know what is your purpose in life. And some of you may only have ideas, and some of you may not have any ideas. So I want to take you on a little journey of discovery. So even if you already know what your purpose is, by going through this, maybe this will help validate it. So I'm just going to ask you to join along. There's 4 components to this. And we're going to spend most of our time in the first two, and then the other ones, not so much. There's not that much we have to cover. But they are, one is, what do you like doing that you value? What results do you want that you value? So what do you like doing? What the results do you want that have value? You can see my cat's joining us. He's actually very interested in Jasmine. He thinks Jasmine's really cool. He likes her little tutu and wants to lick it. So there's Smokey. Number 3, how do the results benefit some part of society? And then, are your actions and the results meaningful and satisfying? So we'll take the first step. What do you like doing that you value? So I'm encouraging you, I'm going to stop for just a second. Grab a piece of paper or something to write on, or if you want to type on a computer or on your phone, on your notepad or whatever, find something that you can write in. And we're going to, I'm actually going to bring up my whiteboard. So here's the whiteboard. Let's move that out of the way. So we're going to look at the first two things. So while you're getting your paper, go ahead. I'm just going to kind of be fiddling here. But what do you enjoy doing? You know, what is it? Maybe it's shopping. I don't know. Singing. Talking. So just start writing down some things. I'm just writing down some ideas. But what is it that you like doing? Helping others. Making food. Affirming people. Encouraging. Telling the truth, maybe finding the truth. So I just want you to make things, and I want you to say that I want them to be things that you value. Some it's like, oh yeah, I like doing that, but you can say, when you say it, it's like, oh yeah, I really like doing this. So we're looking at, action verbs. What do I really like doing? Some things for me would be coaching, encouraging. I decided I came up with opening up stuff. I love opening up stuff. And I don't mean like packages, but I love opening up like my yard. Like I love open spaces. So we recently just took down a few trees in our lower part of our yard that faces the sound, and we took them down, and we actually now have a partial view of Mount Rainier from our back deck. So I love to be able to see out, and so I love to open things up. That's some things I enjoy doing. I think that's funny when I came up with that one. So what is it that you enjoy doing that you value? So I'm going to give you just a little bit more time to write some stuff down. Don't critique it, just write the stuff down for now. And we're going to revisit this when we come back to the meditation. We'll come back to this more. So don't feel like, oh, this is just kind of an exercise to get your brain going. So what do you value? What would be the next thing to also think about? What do you value? And for me, I just want to put some ideas, but maybe you value peace, collaboration. You value honesty, equality. Oops, don't spell equality. Equity is the new, it's kind of the big word in schools these days where I work. And I love the idea of equity. And it's different from equality, where equality, I spelled equality wrong, huh? Some people like to make sure that their words are spelled correctly. There are people like that they're about language, and there's nothing wrong with that. Equity is the idea where equality is where you give everybody the same thing. But equity is where, okay, so if I have 3 people, a small one, a medium, and a tall one, and they're all standing by a fence, and you say, okay, I'm going to give you all a block so you can all get up higher. So you give them all this block, and everyone gets up on the block, and the tallest person's like looking way over and watching the ball game, and then the medium person's come up and their head just barely comes up above the fence and they're looking over and they can see it. And then the little short person gets on their block and the fence is still above their head and they can't watch anything. You say, but everyone's equal. We all have the same block. But equity is when you say, okay, wait a sec. This tall person doesn't need a block. The medium person needs one block, and the little person, what if we give them 2 blocks? Then everybody's up and everyone has an equal experience. Everyone's able to see the ball game, but we're getting them something different for them to be able to have that. So I love the whole thing of equity, trying to do equity when we're in education now, trying to figure out how to be equitable in our teaching and for our students that are coming from different ways of life. So what do you value? Do you value friendship? Clean air, the ecology of some sort. What are some things? I just want you to write some things down of what you value. Give you a little bit more time to write some things down. Again, don't evaluate them yet. Just if it pops in your head like, yeah, I value that. That's something I value. So what I think is kind of cool is then to mix and match. So I'm going to try this one more little sharing thing to see if I can show you something that I have here. So pull this here, share on the whiteboard. So we did the whiteboard, but I did, here's some of the things that fit me, just for an example. So what do I enjoy doing? I enjoy inspiring people, coaching. I did a lot of coaching, improving stuff. I like making things better. So if people want to hire me, so I'm, in terms of an employee, if you want to come in and say, oh, let's make this better, improve this. I'm like, I'm the person. I want to get stuff done and I want to improve what we have around. And then once it's going really good, that's kind of when I think, okay, get someone else to come in here and maintain it because I've improved it. That's what I get thrilled at. That's what I love to do. And affirming people. I really enjoy affirming people. So those are things I enjoy doing. Those are my verbs. These are my top values. I've been able to sit with this longer. So these are things that I find really valuable. So equality for those who don't have it. And that along goes with equity. Diversity. I really value diversity. My life is so much more rich because of living in Hawaii, living in Montana, living in the Seattle area, different places that I've traveled. Diversity is so exciting to me because there's so much to learn out there and people have different perspectives and we get a fuller view of what life can be like by learning from other people. I mentioned open spaces, but I love the thing that's connected with open spaces is open minds. So I realize that so much of my work that I've done is really around opening spaces, but the idea of opening people's minds, that is meaningful to me. I want people to have a bigger view of the world. And then I also value meaningful conversations. I'm not a very good weather talker. I can talk about the weather, but I mean, after 2 minutes, I'm like, okay, I gotta go. I'm not much of a small talker. So I kind of mix and match these where I say, okay, I like inspiring people so that they have open minds. I like coaching so people get open. I keep gravitating to this open minds. I like improving stuff so that maybe there's equality for all people. I mean, I can kind of mix and match these. I like affirming people, but this also connects to open minds and I think equality. Coaching can fit with diversity. So I'm kind of looking at some of these verbs. What are the top values? How do they come together? And so I would say several of those verbs I use, but I think really it comes down to doing things that I really enjoy to help open the mind and the perspective and the views of others. So we're going to spend some more time on this in the meditation. So don't, just kind of leave what you've put down there so far. So the second step, which we kind of covered already, but oh no, it isn't actually, I'm sorry, I'm kind of blank there. The second was, what are the results that you want? Okay. And so the results that I want when I talk about opening up people's perspectives, okay, I'm opening it up because the result is I want them to be more open to what's around them. I want them to be more accepting of others. I want them to be more knowledgeable, because with knowledge often comes acceptance, right? And also action. I want people to be more confident about themselves, maybe more relaxed if they're stressing out. I want them to be more content. So those are the things when I'm talking about opening someone's mind, that's what I want to be doing. But the result is I want people to have these open experiences where they're finding they're having more of something that they didn't have before, which ultimately enriches their lives better. And that's the goal. And so the step number 3 is then the question you'd ask yourself, or do the results benefit some part of society? Because there are things that we do that benefit us, but don't necessarily benefit some part of society. Now, that's not a bad thing to be doing, but I wouldn't call that necessarily a life purpose. And again, life purpose could be simply just helping people enjoy life, right? There's a lot of people out there that maybe don't enjoy life. And so, whatever it is, it doesn't have, like I said, it doesn't have to be some thing where you're going to win the Nobel Peace Prize. But I look at mine and I say, okay, yeah, it benefits society, because people become, when they're open to new ideas, or open to the world around them, or more open even to themselves, they seem to be more tolerant, and they're even more apt to celebrate differences. So it's not just the idea of, oh, I'm tolerating these people, but I'm actually celebrating their differences. They're usually more hospitable to diverse people, and they lead more satisfying lives. So to me, when I look at this, I say that there's a lot of benefits to this kind of life purpose that I've find myself drawn to. And then the step 4 is asking yourself the question, are my actions and the results, so my actions and the results, step number 1 and 2, are they meaningful and satisfying? And I think this is really important, because if they are, then I think you're on track. If they are not, I think you need to make some changes, because I remember growing up in a Christian home where it was like the church I went to would say, okay, you have to go out and you have to witness and tell people about Jesus Christ so they can be saved. And I remember thinking, I don't want to do that. I don't care. I mean, I care, but I don't want to do that. That's not what I want to do. I do want to sing. I want to sing with the choir. I want to sing on my own. I want to write songs and sing and tell my story or tell what I believe. I love doing that, but I do not want to go around to some door and knock, knock, knock and go, have you heard the word of God today? That I did not. And so I take that and thought, from that I learned that it's like, no, we're wired differently. We don't have to do certain things. I mean, find out what you're wired to do, what makes you happy, what makes you satisfied, and is it meaningful? So look at, are people benefiting? Sometimes you may look at and go, you know what, they aren't really benefiting. We thought they would, because I like to tell people what to do, and if they would just follow my directions, they would be better, but it's not working. So then we think, maybe we're going about it the wrong way. It doesn't mean that what our mission is or our life purpose is wrong. It just might be how are we going about it, right? When I want people to open their minds, when I first liked that, I would try different things, and I'd realize telling people like how it is, or what I've learned. Sometimes I learned in my theology classes, and I go, oh, did you hear that there's more creation stories that were here on earth before the biblical creation story? And then people would be going like, you're from Satan. And so I realized, okay, the way I'm doing this is not helping them open their minds. So how can I do it? What do I do to help open people's minds to seeing God bigger than maybe what they see, or seeing the world bigger, et cetera, et cetera. So it's good to check in with the people you think you're benefiting and find out, is it really working, right? And to see if they are benefiting. And if not, look at how to maybe change how you're doing what you're doing. So it can take some work. It's not like you just get this overnight, but I think your life purpose really does need to come from what you enjoy doing, right? Because why would you be given a life purpose that you hate? I mean, you were wired a certain way to enjoy certain things. So use those strengths, use those passions to create good in the world, to benefit other people, to invent it. And it could be just the environment. Maybe your role is to benefit the environment. It doesn't necessarily have to be people. It could be something bigger that way, right? So, so just to summarize the four objects, I'm sorry, the four components, that's what I would like to call them, is one, just taking action. You know, inspiring, and Mind for Mind is inspiring others to open their minds. I do this oftentimes through humor, and I see somebody who's kind of serious, I'll actually say something to get them to laugh. And when they laugh, that's just actually a way of opening themselves up. And so it's like, because maybe they were in here and then you do something else and boom, they laugh and it actually opens up. And so that's another way that I often use to open people up. It doesn't have to be some big, mega important thing that I'm opening their minds to, but just getting them to open up a little bit more, maybe even opening up to themselves, getting to know themselves better. So the result is, from my trying to inspire people to open their minds, is that people are open to new ways of thinking and acting. And that's the thing I value, that I'd like to see most. And the benefit, yes, people are happier, more confident, less stressed, more accepting and loving. And I think those are all really valuable things, and that helps society. And I find it extremely satisfying when I see somebody learning something about themselves, or learning about how they're doing something. They want to do it a different way, or they've said, oh, I want to do this, or look what I can do, you know. So it's part of the reason I'm a teacher, because I get to see those little lights come on in people. But I'm a better coach than I'm a teacher. So even as a teacher, I'm kind of a coach, because I come alongside people and encourage them, as opposed to just like, okay, let me just spew this out and have you learn it. I'm more of a coaching type of teacher. So I want to close with owning your life purpose. So, because that was the name of my talk, but I kind of, before you can actually own it, it might be first you have to discover it, right? And then as you're putting it together, third part is owning it. And there's 3 steps to this. And it's 1, practice, 2, practice, and 3, practice. You've heard it, practice, practice, practice. But I'm going to say this, I'm going to break it down just briefly. Number 1, practice, clarify it. Practice what you're doing to clarify what your life purpose is. So get out there and try some things and see, does it feel good? Is there a benefit? What's the value? You know, are you enjoying it? Those are the things. So get out there and practice, just so you can start to clarify what your life purpose is. The second practice is maybe you're in a place to hone it. You've got the idea, and now what are some things that you can do to hone your life purpose so that you become more effective at what you do? You know, we can go through life and never think. It's okay to do that. But I have discovered that when I start to think, or start to reflect, and start to craft what I'm doing, I'm much more effective at what I'm doing. So again, you don't have to, but if you want to be more effective, there's the idea of practicing, clarifying, practicing, honing it. And the third practice is change it. Change it if you have to. As you're going along, and life changes, and all of a sudden something that you've enjoyed doing may not be the thing that fits you anymore. And it's okay to change what you're doing. So you may like, this doesn't fit in. So what do I want to change about this? So change it up if you need to. And do you only have one life purpose? I am not going to say that. No. I don't like when people say that. It's too dogmatic. No, you can have only one life purpose. You only have one life partner, or whatever, that, things that I grew up being told. And I would say, I remember this story. I'm going to close with this story. When I was growing up, and at my church, they had this part where spiritual gifts, and there was a place in the New Testament where they read all these spiritual gifts, and we would take these tests to see what our spiritual gift was, kind of like the life purpose, right? Your spiritual gift is often could be very connected to your life purpose. So there was a lot of good in it, but when I get done, I'd be like, oh, I got 7. And they're like, okay, so what's your spiritual practice and your spiritual gift? And I'm like, well, I got 7. And they're like, no, you can't have 7. Nobody has 7. You can't have that. And I'm like, oh, so then I feel bad. Like, okay, I think I have 7 things that I really like and I think I do really well. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'll just pick that top one, and then I'll just focus on that. But I just remember thinking, well, what do you mean I can only have 1? God gave me 7, I got 7, if somebody has. So the same thing with your life purpose. It doesn't have to be just one thing. You are the master of your life purpose, right? You get to own it. You get to display it. So nobody can tell you what it is and how you have to use it or do it. So I'm just going to close with that, knowing that, again, owning your life purpose, to practice, practice, and practice. And I'd like to turn it over now to ChristineEss again for another inspirational song. Thank you.
Give me one pure and holy passion. Or 2 or 3. Give me one magnificent obsession. Give me one glorious ambition for my life, to know and follow hard after you. Give me one pure and holy passion, and give me one magnificent obsession. Give me one glorious ambition for my life, to know and follow hard after you. Oh, to know and follow hard after you. To grow as your disciple in your truth. The world is empty, pale and cold, compared to knowing you within. Live in me, and I will be true to you. Live in me, and I will be true to you. Give me one pure and holy passion. Give me one magnificent obsession. Give me one glorious ambition for my life, to know and follow hard after you. Oh, to know and follow hard after you. To grow as your disciple in your truth. 'Cause the world is empty, pale and cold, compared to knowing you within. Live in me, and I will be true to you. Live in me, and I will be true to you. Live in me, and I will be true to you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Let's move into a time of meditation. So make yourself comfortable. And if you have a piece of the paper with you that you've written stuff on, you can hold that, but I'm going to actually have you just set that aside while we kind of revisit some of these questions. So I'm going to put some questions out there for you. And as I do, I want you to just whatever comes up, the first thing that comes up, first and second things that come up quickly and immediately, those are the things I want you to grab onto. And then actually, if you do have your paper there, you can write these things down. And maybe there are already things that you've written down, then circle them. But, so just to get prepared, get yourself in a comfy position. You fall asleep, that's okay. Then go ahead and just take a couple deep breaths in and out. Deep breath in and out. One more time. Deep breath in and out. So what's the first thing that comes to your mind when I say, what is it that you love doing? I like doing this because, so complete that sentence. I like doing this, doing blank because blank. I like doing blank because blank. Do it again. Say the same thing again, but see what else you come up with. I love doing blank because blank. Come up with something totally different. So you'll find that the because part that you've come up with is usually your value. That's why you're doing something. That's what you value. What do you hope the result is from doing that? You're doing something because, and what do you hope the result will be? The results I want are, complete that. The results I want to see are. If a couple things come to your mind, write them all down. It doesn't have to be just one answer. Let's go through it again. I want you to write again what I really like doing blank because blank. Come up with something different. If the same thing keeps coming to your mind, that is okay too. But I want you to try it again. I really like doing blank because. The results that I hope to see are. What are the results? The results I hope to see are. Take a couple deep breaths. And realize that you are up to the task. You are being called to do something special, something unique for you. There may be other people doing the same thing, but it's the unique thing for you. It's a special thing for you to contribute to society. Something to better society, or to better the world, to better the environment. Something that makes you happy to do. This is your preciousness. This is one of the things that makes you precious. Just being alive makes you precious. At the point where other people can start to see your value is when they see your life purpose and how you're contributing. Take a couple extra deep breaths. We're going to come out of our meditation. As you come back to the bigger group, I want to encourage you to tell somebody what you came up with, because we know that what we speak makes it more real. So go to somebody you live with, or you can always email me too and write down. I love to hear from you. You know, what did you come up with? And again, it doesn't have to be, you may specifically know, or you may not. You're still kind of working with stuff. All of that is great. All of that is great because it's a process. But tell somebody what you came up with. Let them know what you're coming up with. Just even by saying it will help you decide it. Yeah, no, that's not right. That didn't sound right, or that didn't feel right. Or maybe, yeah, that I feel really good about that. So that's where I'm going to recommend that you tell somebody about it. And thank you for your time. I thank you for your work on this. And I look forward to hearing from some of you. So I want to turn it back over to ChristineEss again for one more song. We're making her sing.
Sometimes it feels like it's all been done before. What could I say that we haven't heard before? And then I hear you tell me ideas take new life. When I see through your perspective, it's then I see the light. So let it shine, let it shine, let your light shine. Oh, let it shine, singing a song that's already been sung, becomes something new when I hear it through you. Words come to life when they breathe through your heart. I have new understanding when you play your part. So let it shine, let your light shine, let it shine, let it shine, let your light shine. Now it's your turn to write the music. It's your turn to sing the song. It's your turn to be the drummer. It's your turn to dance all night long. So let it shine, let your light shine, let it shine, let it shine, let your light shine, let it shine.
Thank you for this song, ChristineEss, and thank you for the wonderful message, Cindy. I have some last few announcements. I'll give the benediction, and then ChristineEss will sign us out with one last song. So the Board of Unity, we are looking to make sure we know the updates on what the governor's decisions are of reopening the church. So whenever we come up with new information, we'll be sure to relay it to you. And for Mother and Father's Day, we will be having a spring fundraising diaper drive that we'll be donating to Nourish Food Bank. We will be accepting donations of any size diapers to give. If you would like to donate, then you can set up an arrangement. You can go on our website, unityoftacoma.org, and click the Contact Us form, or you can email Reverend Lori at unityoftacoma.org. So please tune in next week. And for the benediction, we are here now, far apart but together. Let us think about what it means to have a purpose in life, how it fills your experience in this life with more wholeness and abundance. Let's take steps forward to nurture that purpose, no matter where you are on your journey of finding it, or if you feel you already have found it. It will always be there with us, waiting to be let out. Amen.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as our creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Oop.